Today's recipe is a real treat using red cabbage. It's a braised red cabbage with apple and onion. Perfect recipe as a side dish for pork chops, roast chicken, kind of anything. I think that it's really delicious and it's very popular, so I thought I'd share it with you. You need 1 onion, 1 apple, and 1 head of cabbage. Slice your onion. I tend to go pretty thin, but if you like a thicker slice, go for that. I'm going to start heating my pan because I want to saute these. Get it a little warm. This is an enamel cast iron. It takes quite a while to heat up. So I just have it on a medium right now while I'm cutting on my onion and apple. This is 1 apple. You want something firm like a Gala or a Fiji. You don't need to peel it, but you do need to remove the core. I'm just going to slice it into quarters and then cut the core out, or just sort of cut along the edge. Just remove the core like that. And then slice the apple also kind of like the onions, kind of thin. I'd say about 1/8 of an inch. When I was growing up, one of my favorite series of books were the Little House books. And in Farmer Boy, which is the 3rd book in the series, they make pork chops with apples and onions. And I always think about that anytime I make pork chops. My kids do not like apples and onions, so I never get to make it. But this is sort of like that, I guess. Add 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter and melt that in the pan. I could turn the heat up. I didn't want it to get too hot because I didn't want my butter to burn, but now I want it to melt, so I want to turn it up a little bit. And add your onions and your apples. You want to saute those until they get, the onions are translucent. That usually takes about 4 to 6 minutes, and while you're doing that, you can cut up your cabbage. I'm a big believer of prepping as I go along so that I'm not sitting there waiting for things with nothing to do. Depends on the kind of recipe. Like if I'm doing a stir fry, I certainly wouldn't do that. But in an instance like this where I can be near the counter, give my pot a stir every once in a while and go back and forth, I think it's a much better use of time. Cut the same thing. You're going to cut your cabbage very thinly. You want to remove the core. The outside leaves sometimes can be a little bit damaged, but you don't want to get rid of too much of your cabbage. And then you'll shred the cabbage, like I said, thinly too. Give it a slicey slice. Your nice knife is really sharp. This shouldn't take very long to do. You can, of course, do this in a food processor if that's your preferred method. I often say this almost anytime I bring up a food processor. If I don't have to use one, I won't, because I find it really annoying to wash. It is a really great and convenient and fast tool, though. And if you don't have a sharp knife or you don't like slicing as much as I do, it's a great option. People ask me all the time, like, what's the most important thing to have in the kitchen? It's probably a good knife. When your onion starts to become translucent, I'm going to season a little bit now, salt and pepper. If you season earlier, it actually helps pull the moisture out of your onions and makes it cook down more quickly, and also, it starts adding flavor. So now you can add your cabbage. You're going to want to use a large pot. Obviously, cabbage has much more volume in the beginning and it's going to cook down a lot, but you want to make sure there's enough room in there to start. Give it a little stir around. Then for some additional apple flavor, this is 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And for a hint of sweetness, 4 teaspoons of sugar. And to help it cook, 1/2 cup of water. If you're not serving a vegetarian meal, you can use chicken stock here if you'd like. Or any stock that you like. If you have pork broth, go ahead and use that. Stir everything around to fully combine, mix it up, and then cover it and cook it until everything is cooked down and the cabbage is really tender. That should take about 25 minutes. Okie doke. Let's see. Beautiful bright purple color, so fragrant. The apples smell so good in here, you guys. Season with some salt and pepper. Give it a stir and then serve it up. If you want to, you can cut this recipe in half, no problem. It is a very large recipe. Serves plenty. And then taste it. It's so beautiful too, isn't it? I love that vibrant color. And it's as easy as that, guys. I think this is going to be one of your new go-to side dishes. Why don't you give it a try? If you like recipes like this and you want more, make sure to click like and subscribe because we have plenty more where this came from.